Welcome everyone. On today's episode of Transcend Breaking Boundaries, I will be talking to my wonderful mother, the lady who gave birth
I'm sorry.
What are you looking at?
It was stuff moving in the background. Go ahead. Okay, sorry about that.
So I'll be talking to my mom. She has been the one to show support. And she's shown up to pretty much every surgery I've had thus far. She does her best to use the correct pronouns. I mean, I don't really think she slips up at all anymore. And we're just going to talk about what that is like as a parent. First question that I want to ask though, because this is also about the fact that I am Black, in case you didn't know.
I didn't.
In light of everything that's happened in 2020, race, I don't necessarily recall ever talking about race as a child. So why is that actually? Why
we didn't talk about race?
Talk about race.
Probably because I didn't want you to grow up feeling like that I wanted you to feel equal to others. I didn't want you to feel that there was or that you should see yourself as being different, or that there was a class of folks that, I don't know if that's the right term, but there was a class of folks that down on us because of the color.
I mean, that's a good reason. It didn't necessarily work, so I ended up realizing that along the way. With everything that happened because the first time we actually really started talking about race was because of everything that was going on during 2020, because no one could just watch and act like it wasn't happening anymore. How do you feel about things in today's age with everything that's happened? Do you feel like there's been much progress at all? Or do you think it was just
the same stuff is still happening? I don't think there's been much progress. I think there's been effort with folks trying to understand how we feel, or a few folks taking the blinders off and realizing that this is really an issue. Although they try to say that they're not prejudiced, that they still have some. They say they're not prejudiced, but they're not really aware of their prejudice. I don't know.
I was reading a book recently. I've been reading White Fragility, and it talks about how white people, those who they're quick to say that they're not racist and so forth, are the ones that actually add to the problem because they don't understand the type of prejudices that there are. And then it was also talking about how racism today racism just evolves. It's no more of the N-word, this and that, but it's like racism with a degree now.
With a degree?
Yeah, like educated racism in the sense. Okay. They're better at hiding it. They can make have it in your face, but they're better at doing it, but being very blunt and blatant about it, which I do feel is the case. And I mean, you look at who runs Congress and the Senate right now, and the laws and everything that been passing. Women bodies aren't their bodies anymore. Did you know that there have been in this year alone 520 anti-LGBTQ bills that have passed, 220 directly targeting transgender non-binary people.
No, I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, I found that out when I looked it up, actually. No. In some states, it is a felony to perform in drag.
Really?
Yep. And what was it? It was one that completely bans, or no, there's several that completely bans gender affirming healthcare. So
did you hear the story of the mayor and he's a mayor and a pastor, and a media outlet outed him because he was dressing in drag.
Oh wow!
Did you hear about that?
No.
He ended up killing himself. He was a mayor and a pastor. Pastor Bubba? I can't remember the name, but yeah, it just recently happened, like last week sometime. He took his life,
And
but he was.
and I mean, it's even that type of culture that's creating that type of dynamic where people aren't allowed to be themselves and
Mhm.
be who they truly want to be, and then they got to be worried about being outed. I mean, this is all of this me even talking about being trans. I mean, to the extent of even doing this, I've lived the last 15 years as stealth, not wanting to tell people, and now I'm sitting here doing a podcast. It took a whole direction. As a parent, what is that like having a transgender child in today's age and era with
It's definitely a scary situation. Like, uh, me being the type of person I am, like, I think about all the scary things, like, someone, the hate crimes, to find out you know, how they, what's going on with you, like, times when you get incarcerated and they put you in the male side of the jail. I'm like, oh my God, they're gonna find out, rape, like I just deal with all the fears. I just don't. Um, it's scary. It's scary. Like I think that I would have been most happy if we would just chose to be lesbian. I mean, you would have had some backlash about that, but just it would have prevented me from having to like try to change my psyche about who you are because I know what you were at birth, and so it just would have been a lot. I don't know, been a lot easier, I guess. Did that answer that question? I kind of went
yeah.
from one thing to
No,
another.
yeah, you did. Now, I mean, you saying it would have been easier, and yeah, I agree. If I not taken the journey, I do feel like my life would have been easier, but I wouldn't have been happy.
But see, I don't understand that, and think I don't think anyone can help me understand that. I think that I just have to go on what you say you feel. Like I have no understanding about being in. I just couldn't even imagine me wanting to be a man. Like I don't understand none of that, or feeling like I'm living in the wrong body. I mean, but I guess it's true. I mean,
The happiness I feel now compared to then, it's different. Like when
is
I
that happiness because you feel is that happiness because you feel complete? Like, is that happiness because of your transitioning or other things in your life?
It's because of my transition. I mean, when the nurse showed me, like when she was like, "Do you want to see it?" and when she showed it to me, I started crying
Mm.
because the joy that I felt that it was finally done, that it finally happened. And I mean, when I realized that I knew 100%, like without a doubt. I mean, I've known I've wanted to do it, but where like I knew I needed to do what was necessary to get to this point was when they had to cancel it last year because of the nicotine that was in my system, and then like that sadness that I felt, that madness I felt at myself for even putting myself back in that position. That is when I knew, all right, I need to get it together because I can't be this close to reaching the point of everything that I've been waiting for and just let it all slip away just because I can't stop smoking a black amount.
So, at no point from the surgery have you ever said to yourself, "Why did I put myself through all this?"
No,
Not with the pain of the healing and none of that.
no, not like, and I mean, when I was like, 'cause I was talking to Marcia the other day, and the thing is, when people want to comment and talk about me putting myself through this, I'm the one that's having to go through it. No one else is really going. It's my body that's going through all this stuff, and I'm fine with it. Like I'm good. It's and I'm figuring out how to adapt with certain things because walking around with the penis I have right now, as heavy as it is, it's not comfortable.
That is TMI.
But no, it's like it's not. And I mean, even the doctors, like when they told me that even using that donor site is they don't recommend me doing it and everything like that, and they were telling me making sure that I understood the risk. I understood the risk. I'm well aware of the whole thing, and I don't regret a single moment of it. I mean I wish I would have just been born a boy. It would have been easier.
What with
Born a
it?
boy, it would have been easier.
I often ask myself like I wanted a girl so bad, so bad. I was like, did I mess up something praying for a girl so hard? Oh gosh, like I'm gonna give you a girl, but
Be prepared.
lots gonna come with it. A lot's gonna come with it. You
I
want
mean,
this girl so bad.
you gave me a boy's name.
Unbeknownst to me, unbeknownst to me, I just thought that name was so pretty. Albany. Albany. This doesn't sound masculine at all to me. It doesn't sound feminine, it doesn't sound masculine. It just sounds like Albany.
Yeah, I mean, I think how the pronunciation is different over there, by the way, too. But
Yeah,
the
because
spelling of it is what it is why it's masculine.
your name is not Obini.
um, when after my first surgery, after when I had top surgery, what was going through your mind? Do you remember?
Titties really are gone. You really cut your damn titties off. I guess this is it. This is where we're going.
At any time did you think that I would at all change my mind? Like, did you think this was at all a phase?
I may have been hoping it was, but I think I felt that once you made up your mind, you were set on what you had to do to make the transition.
Do you do you think things will at all get easier for me being trans, and especially even doing this and being open about it? Does the fear that you have is that um
No, for some reason, I feel that in my mind, the complete surgery is a relief to me because I feel like you are who you want to be. You are a man, so I don't I don't perceive you in my mind. I'm sure that there will still be issues coming out and maybe back. I mean, is that called coming out?
no, I've been
No.
out.
I don't know.
No
I don't
longer.
know.
I mean, I don't know what you call no longer being stealth about it.
I don't know, but I don't. The completion of the surgery is just some relief to me, and it lessens my worries a little bit. I know there's still some ignorant people, but I feel. I mean, because it's nothing like what I'm saying. Like it's nothing. If someone wants to fight you now, they would see a penis. So,
Yeah.
you know.
Yep.
So I don't feel that.
And I mean, I get that because that was when even when I got locked up. That I mean, that I was sitting there telling Natasha, I'm like, if people coming with me, I'm not about to just sit here and be taken out like that. They weren't just going to take me out like that. That just was not about to happen. And but I mean, that also like having it now, knowing that it's all closed up down there, it makes me happy. Like that actually makes me happy.
So I'm curious as to why you have chosen to share all this with the world.
Well, I want to say that keeping a lot of stuff in. I mean, because I mean, you didn't even know about some of the stuff that I told you about, the stuff that I dealt with race wise, and stuff that I've dealt with. Being when I first came out as trans, and having to keep a lot of stuff bottled in, and not really knowing who I can talk to about it. Because other than my therapist or whatever partner I had, but even the partners that I had, they couldn't understand because I was dating straight women, straight identifying women, so they really couldn't help too much.
Do you think it would have been different if you were dating lesbians?
I think that if I was dating someone who might have had experience dating someone who's trans, it might have been different. I mean, because it started with Candace. and this white girl from California, she no. I mean, but I mean, she was one of the very. I mean, she was a ride or die. She supported me in very beginning with all of that, and I mean, next relationship, major relationship after that is Natasha. She's her family's Middle Eastern. You don't really. I mean, what you know of in the middle is the East with people in the LGBTQ. They getting killed in every which way. So I mean, I don't really see her family or but she has dealt with it in a very supportive way. 'Cause I even asked her actually, like, because she said she'll do a show with me, and I'm like, are you worried at all about like, are you going to support that? Are you going to post it? What are you going to do? Like, what are you going to say when your family or your friends sit there and say, "Oh my gosh, this ex boyfriend of yours that you just been in your life for the last 9 years is trans?" And she was like, "You're the only one who cares. I don't care." She was like, "If they got something to say to me about it, then they can just F off. But I don't care. It's not going to bother me." But it was like, I had fear for other people about me being open because I didn't want them to have to deal with any type of uncomfortability, backlash, and all that stuff. Because I was still trying to figure out how to deal with it too. Do your how do you feel my siblings feel about it?
Oh, they just think you're crazy. No, that's all. I was just. I mean, they try. I think it's harder for that's what the pronouns like, cause she has to really think about it, but she got her own. She has to really think about it. I know Monty tries, uh, or it's not even a effort with her or Tyson. Like he don't know you
Any other way?
any other way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've noticed that. I've noticed Destiny, but then I figure, I'm not around her that much either. To
Mm. So she has to try, and I think that's something that helped me out a lot is because you lived across the country, so I didn't have to face it on a day to day basis.
And I think that's probably why I did it too. Like why it was so easy for me to just pick up and leave and live in other places because I could start over and be a man and not have to worry about anyone else.
Calling you out
Yep,
and
making mistakes, that uncomfortable situation to be
mhm.
in because someone say something else and then the person looks and they confused like why they saying that. So being able to live my life separately, it was good. But then at the same time, I would be in uncomfortable conversations in the sense of people be saying ignorant stuff about trans people and I didn't want to say anything or stand up about it because I didn't want someone to sit there and think that I'm trans or know that I'm trans, excuse me, and put out myself. I mean, did I ever tell you about the one time the old job I had, and one of the employees, one of my coworkers, she kept asking if I did drag at night, like if I did drag at night because she was like your face is just so feminine, this and that, and I was like, no. I kept telling her, and then I was like, I was like, I look like a lot like my mom. Like my features come from my mom. So I had to show her a picture of you, and she was like, okay, okay, I see it now.
What?
Right? But it was like that even just in situations like that because no one knew that I'm actually transgender. So saying that is just like, well, I guess I guess I'm passing as a man in some little bit of way, but I guess my features are a little bit soft. I don't know. When you your relationships, how is that? I mean, do you tell them?
Do I tell them?
Yeah, do you tell them that your son is transgender?
No, I don't.
No. Well, that's good. They don't need to know.
Or you telling the world so I
Well,
can say something. But
and now, yeah.
I mean, uh, Shanton knew because he at the surgeries and stuff.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
But
Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. How do you think?
I just say I have two boys, two girls.
And you do. That's exactly what you get. Two boys, two girls. Did you ever at all worry about what? Because I know when every time I was like dating somebody or something like that, the question that you would ask is, "Do they know?" That's one of the first questions you ask. Is, "Do they
Mm-hmm.
know?" And something else. And I'd tell you, no, I'd tell you whatever reason I hadn't told them yet. Did you ever worry about what my life would be relationship wise before I got married and then got divorced?
No, because I'm a true believer that there is somebody for everybody, and I think if people present their authentic self, then there will be somebody to receive that. So I didn't think that. I mean, I didn't know you would have as many as you have. You know what I'm saying? So it's quite a few that will. Yeah,
True.
that never worried me about like whether you would find someone or
Yeah.
nah, that never worried me. That never.
Because I get all my good looks from you. I know. That's exactly
Right,
why.
because I just feel like there's somebody. Let me tell you, out here for everybody. Somebody is down for whatever.
What do you?
You found quite a few.
I did, and I mean, I've actually been surprised about that too because I have found
Mhm.
quite a few. Do you? What's your take on? I mean, now I tell. Well, Ebby was like the first person that I told like that the next day. I don't wait as long to tell and disclosing that
So what do
information.
you say? I'm a trans man.
Yep. Those yeah, I'm a
I'm
transgender male. I mean,
So
how
you have
I
to say the whole thing, transgender male.
yeah, I believe that's why I don't know why I say the whole thing, but I do.
I mean, so trans is that's not a right short
It
or
is.
whatever.
It is, but I feel like because well, no, I've never actually verbally said it to anyone. So I've always typed it out. So when I type it out, I feel like typing it out completely is works out better.
So you sent Abby a text. That's
Every single like Natasha, I wrote Natasha a letter, and we were at our house. I wrote her a letter. I was like, listen, I have something to tell you. Blase, blase. Wrote it in there. She thought I was going to tell her I had AIDS, and yeah, and then she was like, "That's it." She was like, "You had me so scared. I thought you were about to tell me you had AIDS." And I was like, "No." And I was like, "Well, wait. What if I did?" And she was like, "I mean, it would have been fine. I would have figured out how to deal. We could have dealt with it together." I was like, "Oh, I love you. That's so sweet."
so. Well, I wonder how I would feel if I got a text. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. So you have never spoken the words, not even to your wife.
Nope. I literally did when I had told Bethany, I was like, "Listen, I have something I got to tell you, but I'm super nervous." And like we were sitting in a bar, and we were sitting next to each other, but I could not verbally say the words. And then she was like, "What's wrong? Just tell me." And I was like, "Okay, wait a second, give me a second. I gotta get up. Just give me a second." She was like, "You're scaring me," and I'm like, "Okay, hold on, just give me a second right now."
So what has any of the responses been surprising to you?
I don't know. Like I feel like I sort of prepare myself for the worst, but hope for the best. I prepare for the worst, but I hope for the best. No one's response has been like even Bethany. She was just like when I texted to her, she was like, "Where are you?" Because I like ended up walking outside away from the bar and everything. She was like, "Where are you?" And I was like, "I'm scared. You were too quiet for too long." She was like, "It's okay. Just come back. I want to see you." And then when I told Abby was like, she was like, "I don't have a problem with that. I don't mind." And I was like, "Well, have you ever been with anyone that was transgender?" She was like, "No, but you seem like a very nice person. I want to get to know you. I don't care about all that other stuff."
Well,
So if you got a text, so
I
didn't you
don't
tell
know.
me? Didn't I ask you once, or who was it? You was somebody. Who was it?
Transgender?
No, because I had asked you what if the person was, because I think it was somebody that you were talking to and they were like secretive about something. I can't
Uh,
remember. And then
um,
I think I had asked you, what would you, but yeah, and that, so now, what would you do if someone texted you and said that they were transgender? Someone that you were dating. How would you respond now?
I would be like, so where are you in the transition? Because that matters. Because I'm not. See, it's so confusing. I'm not lesbian. So if we have, like, we would have a problem.
So it was funny. It was like a couple months ago or whatever, and Natasha and I we were talking about that. So because I was telling her, I was like, why don't you? Because she was saying how she was having bad luck with guys or whatever. I'm like, so why don't you just go date a girl? Blase, blase. And she had made a comment about the sex part or whatever, right?
Mhm.
And I told her, I was like, well, you had no problem going down on me when I had one, so
TMI.
but then she was like, I was never too sure if I could even ask or talk to you about that because I know you're a man, but to say that I did that when you had that part, and I was like, I mean, we could talk about it if we want to.
What she want to ask you? Did she do a good job?
Yeah, she wanted
Oh my god.
and I even before the surgery or whatever, I felt like one of the things that I had to go through mentally was to not detach myself from that part like I have over the years. But for me, because when it came to sex, like I do enjoy sex, but it wasn't like I always liked being the pleaser. I didn't like anyone touching me.
Mm.
And then I sort of, in my mind, I felt like I needed to understand and appreciate what it was that I was getting rid of before I completely got rid of it. So then I wouldn't completely because I detached myself. I would be detached when I would have sex, especially when like they would want to please me or whatever. It would make me so uncomfortable. I just really didn't like being touched. But now, whole different story. A whole different story. When was the first time? Because I just like hear you tell the story. When did you know that I was different?
That you were different?
Mm-hmm.
Well, at 3, like you didn't like girl toys. Barbie dolls stayed in the back, but gave you a basketball. It's all on it. So, but I thought that was because I had a brother who was only a couple of years older than you, and he was playing the boy stuff. So I thought, oh, you just gravitating to him or something. I don't know. Then, um, there was an incident in kindergarten with a girl named Whitney. I don't know if you told me you wanted to kiss her or you thought she was pretty. I can't remember what it was, but I knew there was an incident with Whitney. And then when you got older and you had a tutor and you told me you wanted to take your tutor flowers. I'm like, what? What?
Yep.
Is your tutor a boy? Why do you want to take your tutor flowers?
Yep. Shout out to my chemistry tutor, Lila.
Oh.
It was actually better at chemistry than she was. I just really liked her.
Yeah. I was like, okay. So I see where this is going. But you were still denying it then. You were still denying it. And I always asked you, like, is there something you want to tell me? And then you finally came on. I think you called me at work or something. I want to tell you something that you already know. Or something like that, you said.
Yeah, and then you were like, "Oh yeah, I've just been waiting for you to tell me."
Yeah.
Yep.
And I asked you then.
Yeah, you did.
I was like, okay, so we're just talking about you're just gay, right? You're lesbian. You don't want to change and I don't even know what possessed me to ask you that question because I back then didn't know anything about a person transitioning. So I don't even know why I even asked you that. But I specifically asked you that question. Like, you're just gay, right? Like you don't want to be a man or anything. I knew nothing about nobody transitioning. So I don't even know why I asked you that. But you told me no. You told me you didn't want to.
It's because I wasn't sure, like, I wasn't sure really how to sort of, because it was sort of new for me too. Like, I was feeling all these different things.
I don't even know why I asked that because I knew nothing. I knew nothing about anyone transitioning. That's weird.
This is the universe was trying to tell you. If I would have said yes, what do you
I
think?
don't know.
Because I mean, if in that moment, if in divine power, in that moment, you asked that question, and I just would have said yes, because you opened that door.
I
What would have
don't
been the?
know. And I wonder if I did open the door. Where maybe you weren't thinking about it before I opened the door.
No, I was. I was.
I remember asking you that question so clearly. I don't even know why. I just don't know. You lied to me.
I couldn't tell you then. Couldn't tell you then. And I mean, the moment I turned 18 and didn't have to work, because when they told me, when Kaiser was like, I have to get my parents' consent and this and that, I was like, well, that's not about to happen. So
Oh, how you know I wouldn't have gave you consent?
really,
What?
okay. You church going, okay, first the household that I grew up in with all the Bible thumping and all that, that was just a fear in general. But you're telling me that 20 some years ago you would have said yes, and you would have given consent for me to transition at
I think
15?
I would have had it at 15.
That's when I called to figure out what I needed to do.
Oh, I probably no. I probably would not have done that at 15. I would have probably said, "Hey, if you're feeling this way, you turn 18, then we can have this conversation. That, but you need to, go through your teenage years."
What do you with gender affirming care, healthcare, like, do you feel that it should be available to younger people, like to people, teenagers? Like, do you remember?
Jazz.
Yeah, Jazz.
Mm-hmm.
She started young.
Gender affirming
Healthcare.
healthcare.
Yeah, well, like
Explain
starting
that to
the
me.
hormones, mainly starting the hormones, and then surgeries and all that stuff.
Not so young. Not so young. I mean, not saying that they don't know who they are. I just, I think the young years should be spent in counseling so they can make sure they know exactly what to do. And I don't know. I just, did you see the boy cheerleader today?
Yeah, I did. And when I saw him too, I instantly thought about if whether or not I remember boy cheerleaders at High Point or Dunbar at all. And then
No.
I thought that was actually cool. I thought that was good, because in the movie Bring It On, they had boy cheerleaders.
But the Bring It On cheerleaders weren't feminine like he was.
And I feel like that's
I
it's
mean, because he was twitching his hips like the girls.
and I feel like that should be that's fine. I think that this younger generation. Because I was talking to Bree, and she would just tell me about how that she has gay guys at her school who have their nails done, and wear wigs and all that. And I think that's fine if their parents are allowing them to express themselves like that and do that. I think that's good. Having to keep stuff bottled in. I mean, do you remember the funeral I went to with the friend that I was going to school with? He had killed himself because he was gay, and his parents didn't accept it.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, and it's like,
Oh, and I'm not opposed to you identifying, you know, who you think you are, but like to start the process of changing your gender that young. Like I just think like I mean the body isn't even really fully developed and stuff then, right? What I mean, does it benefit to start that young? Or I mean like I just don't know. Like
Because I think what they do is they start hormone blockers and then they start the hormone. Cause isn't that what Jazzy did? I think she started hormone blockers first before going. I mean, I'm
Mm.
actually like I'm happy with the fact that I did start at the time that I start because there was just so much going on. But I do feel like counseling probably would have helped and like sort of helped me with the process. Starting counseling, yes. Um and just sort of creating safe spaces. But I'm actually fine with the idea that I started at 19. I would have liked to have had the surgeries sooner. That part has been taking way too long. That's just been way too long. But it's finally happening. I mean, I wish it would have been sooner when I was in my 20s because my body heals slower in my 30s.
But you're here, and I'm happy because, like I said, that bottom part was like a relief to me. Like I feel like, oh, you're safe now.
Yeah, that's what I felt too. And here I am doing a
Hmm.
podcast. That's the funny part. That's the funny part for sure. Now, when for families, I did an episode the other day with a gentleman, transgender, and he's getting his graduate degree to be a chaplain or to work in ministry. And we were just talking about the fact that because I told him he was like the first gender non or trans non-binary individual that I know of that wants to work for a church, like be a part of a church, especially when the Bible teaches us that who I am is a complete sin. Who we are is a sin. So why would you want to be a part of something like that? And the conversation was good. What's your thoughts on that? Seeing as you're Christian and according to your Bible, I'd be going downstairs.
um, so I have been going to a church, right? And I like the church because it's a Bible teaching church, right? I enjoy Bible teaching churches. But I have mixed feelings because the churches, the pastors, the bishop is always like, marriage is between a man and a woman, right? Always hammering that to the ground. The man is the head of the household. A man is the head of the household. And I would say to myself, like, you know, I believe that marriage is for a man and a woman. I also believe, because I love my kids, that marriage is for whoever you choose to love. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not very, like, I like the teaching, like learning the Bible in this particular church. But I feel, I don't know if I want to say, I feel like a hypocrite or I feel like I'm betraying my kids. Because not only do I have you, but I have my other child on is it a spectrum? On the
In the
in the
community,
in the
in the LGBT.
all them acronyms.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
have another one, so I love my kids, and I, we're in this world here. We're living in this world, and I want them to be happy in this world. And I understand we have to live in this world so that we can live eternally in the next world. But this is, what I'm saying, like I couldn't stand to see my kids like being unhappy and miserable. Like I want you to live life and be happy. And I just don't believe that love is love to me. I just don't think that. Just love who you love. And because I choose to love a man, you know what I'm saying? That's my choice. And you should choose to love who you want to love. So I like the church for the teachings, like learning the Bible itself. But as far as being in a church where I'm constantly hearing that there's something wrong with my kids because of what he's saying, like it doesn't sit well with me.
One of the one of the major points that Jesse said was that the Bible was written by old white men to, because I mean the Bible was used during slavery to, they took out what they wanted to take out and used it to keep slaves to do what they're doing. And I mean even that mindset of what the pre- pastor, preacher, bishop,
Bishop.
bishop, what the bishop is saying, that's old school patriarchy right there. That it's
I mean, but he's saying it because the Bible says it. So, I mean, I don't know. I just can't. And I'm not knocking. Like I said, that man is an awesome teacher. I like his teachings. But I'd rather be down the street with Pastor Tony Lee, getting my groove on. Lord.
There was one, and I mean, do you think that, because another question that I had asked Jesse was, you have individuals who want to be stuck in their ways and go off of what the Bible says, and like just completely be stuck, and they don't necessarily decipher for themselves. And it seems like you just said, love is love. Think if the Bible teaches you to love thy neighbor and all that stuff about seeing people as equals and stuff, why is it that these individuals can't be seen as an equal, and is it that those individuals aren't deserving of love? I mean, that's just my thought on it, and that's why that's why I practice Buddhism now. Do you do you when it comes to like Dash, do you think Dash is gonna tell him? I feel like, I mean, I guess with this stuff, he'll probably know, but
I mean, he knows. I think it's gonna be fun because he has a mother and a father. I mean, the fact that two women are living in that house will be an issue. I don't know. I mean, kids of this day is very acceptant of everything. Like, cause Tyson comes up to me, yeah, I have a transgender, and I have a lesbian, and just going down the roster. I'm like, really? All that in your class?
I mean, that the first time, I mean, I knew back then that I liked girls. Like, I knew that, and for sure in the first grade, I knew that.
And the one little boyfriend you had was this blonde, white, I can't remember, blonde, blue eyed, white boy, long hair, looked like a girl. He looked like.
Are you talking about? Are you talking about Michael?
I sure hope his name wasn't Michael.
That was the only white boy that I ever boyfriend I remember having.
Maybe.
I do have a thing for blonde hair and blue eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Do you when I have kids, do you think you'll be worried about the kids, my kids?
Worried in what sense? Worried
Them
about
having
what?
like how the world will treat them because their father's trans. I mean, because that's something that I worry about.
How would they know? Like, I mean, you're out here doing this now, but I mean, how would they know? How would they know?
Well, because I remember when I was talking to Bethany about it, because I had asked her, like, I can't remember exactly what the conversation was, but we were talking about having kids, and she was like, yeah, she'd think it'd be good if I did tell the kids that that I am trans and so forth. But then I told her
Why? I mean, I just don't.
I just wouldn't want that type of, because even now, right now in today's age of America, it's still not that great for trans people. It's still not as accepting.
But how do you know that? What? Tell me what? Like, is it like a lot of hate crimes? A lot of hate
Oh
crimes
yeah, hate crimes are up like 80% in the
against
last year.
transgender.
In the last year, well, okay, it was like 2 weeks ago. Here in DC, a black trans woman was murdered,
Mm.
and then there was like this video.
Well, don't put me on because, like I said, I feel like you're safe now. So don't put me
Gotcha.
on. Okay, don't. I mean, but I read different things. There is a I forgot the name of the media outlet, but there is a like a media outlet, and I think I've sent you articles from it before. You're like, why are you sending me pictures of somebody? Why are you sending me pictures of something? But whatever that article I sent you is the media outlet that I be reading every now and then, and I read stories about incidents happening. But I'm thinking you're safe
I I I mean
because
the
no one
purpose.
has to know unless you tell them.
Very true, and that's what I'm saying. Like even like this podcast, anyone who watches or hears this, that's the only. I'm not, and yeah, I'm gonna put it out on my social media, and whatever the case may be. But like, I don't sit here in the circles
Put
that
it
I'm
on your
in.
social media.
YouTube, in the in the circles that I'm in, even still now, I don't I don't tell people. I don't. It's not like I don't. I don't. I'm not really forward or open or out about it. Heck, even when it pertains to, like the stuff that I do real estate wise or stuff like that, people that I know from real estate, they don't know.
Like if they hear this stuff, like would you be worried if they come across it? Would you be worried about any backlash or
And then that's the problem. Like this is why like that's the problem. Like because
you feel like you
what
shouldn't have any
it
fear
shouldn't.
of backlash?
No, it shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah.
Why does me being trans affect what I do in any way? Like it shouldn't be an issue at all. And I feel like the reason why it is an issue or why people make it an issue is because they are either uncomfortable. And so if they are uncomfortable, let's talk about why you're uncomfortable instead of, you know, instantly going into hate. Or because if you don't understand it, let's talk about why you don't understand it instead of wanting to just be mean and nasty about it. If my 101-year-old granny can understand it, I'm pretty sure everyone else can. Granny did not have a problem with it. Granny, I mean, she would even tell me about someone a lady, a trans lady who she even knew. Granny didn't. Granny didn't never say anything about it, not once.
Mhm.
When I had finally showed her my top surgery, after I got my top surgery, and I showed her, and I remember she had smiled at me, and then she she was like, "That's nice."
That's nice.
And that was it. Like, I mean, then Granny went with the flow of it all. I mean, if she can do that, I don't see why it should be hard for anyone
Mhm.
to do it. In my opinion, so it should be easy peasy. Um, Now, what would you say? We're gonna wrap it up because you did do this pretty late for me, and I do really appreciate it, Mom.
Mhm.
Thank you very much. For those parents who are struggling with trying to accept or deal with their their child who is trans or just told them that they're trans, what do you think? What do you recommendations would you give for them? Like, how do you think what would it help them process it or be there for their child?
You have to lead with love. Like I mean, this is your child, the 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 being that you nurtured in your womb and brought into this earth. Like lead with love. Like you have to just understand what they're going through. Walk the walk with them. Start with counseling so you both can get an understanding. Lead with love.
I remember when you had asked when I told you. I remember you were asking me like, "What is the STP?" when
What?
when I first came out, and when Candace and I were living back here in DC, and I told you I started hormones, and you were asking me about what STP is, and then a bunch of other questions that you had asked. That's what, and I'm just like, you took the initiative to look it up, to look up
Right.
information. I thought that was cool, taking the initiative to do that instead of just completely, blocking it off or whatever the case may be.
I don't even understand I don't understand how parents can be, you know. I watched this show name of the show, but it was about two trans women, and they were in Atlanta, and they were like, they were hustling dudes for their money and all that kind of stuff. But the once the one of the ones transformed, he went back to his mom's house and and he knocked on the door, and the mother was just like, "You got the wrong door. I don't know you." Like I'm like, how can you look your child in the face and say
He transitioned female to male, or she transitioned male to female? You used both pronouns just now, so I'm trying to understand which one is it.
Well, he started off as a little boy.
Oh, it's she.
Yeah, and then I remember the mother put him out the house and stuff too, because like the mother was like, "I'm sitting here taking up for you, and you mean to tell me?" She was going off.
And this is a true story?
No, I don't think it's a true story. Well, it was entertaining. What is the name of that show? I probably told you about it, but anyway, I just think it's sad that. And I mean, I felt emotional when the woman went back to her mother's house, and the mom was like, "You got the wrong door." I don't. Yeah, like how do you close the door when your child like that?
And it's like, what is it that is it because religion is a religion that
That's so
forms
crazy.
that, or is it just really just that natural just hate? But like, why?
Or maybe embarrassment. You know.
But why does it have to be? You're not living it? Why she's not living it? Why is it embarrassing to her when it's the individual that's trans that has to go out there every day and deal with the world?
Because maybe she think that the mother may think that there is some fault within her that caused her child.
Well, this ain't got nothing to do with you, right? I'm just letting you know, make sure in case.
What?
I just want to make sure it's clear that
What?
this ain't got nothing to do with you. It don't got nothing to do with my father. Like,
No, I don't. I don't think that of myself. But you just never know what people. I mean, I can't say that I have never said, "Hey, did I eat the wrong thing in pregnancy?" You know what I'm saying? Like they were saying that there was this fish, right? They were saying there was this fish that had both sex or something, or I was like, did I eat that fish? I'm thinking, what's going on here? Like, what happened? I was at Red Lobster, and maybe I was at Red Lobster a lot when I was pregnant with you, so I'm trying to figure out. You know what I'm saying? Was it something I ate? That thought crossed my mind. It crossed my mind. I ain't gonna lie. Like, but then I'm like, nah, couldn't have been nothing I ate.
I don't think it works like that. I don't
But
think
then
it
I started
works
thinking,
like
like I'm
that.
telling you, I started thinking it was like I prayed too hard for a girl. Like I messed stuff up. You know what I'm saying? Like you were supposed to be a boy, and I kept saying, God, I don't want nothing. If it ain't a girl, I don't. Yeah, that's what I said. I tell kids they just pray for a healthy baby. My kids now just pray for a healthy baby. Don't be telling God what you don't want, what you ain't taking. You know what I'm saying? He's like, okay, I'm gonna fix you. I'm gonna give you this girl, but not for long. Because that's what your heart desire. You want a girl, okay. And then I was all messed up because you wasn't even no prissy girl. Like, tear your stockings up. It was terrible.
You see, it's so mad when people would call me a boy. You'd be so quick to snap. That is not a boy. That is a girl. And I'd just be looking. It didn't bother me, but you. And then you try to like hurry up and fix it because my hair was looking bad or something. You try to make me look girly super fast.
Yeah, you didn't wear the girl well at all.
Nope. Alrighty, Mama. Thank you again for doing this. And
You're welcome.
any final words to those parents struggling? No.
No, I can't provide final words. Oh, I'm all tangled up on here. Just lead with love. That's all I'm saying. Just ask questions, join the conversation, get counseling together, understand, try to understand. I mean, I don't know.
I feel like that's good advice. Because there's nothing wrong with this, folks.
There's nothing wrong with it.
No. I mean, me as an individual, possibly, but me trans, nah. There's nothing wrong with me.
Okay. I believe you.
Yeah, you better believe it. Better believe it. I mean, or it could have been that fish.
I'm telling you, don't go to Red Lobster when you're pregnant. That might sound good. Something in that seafood.
Alrighty, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.